Thanks, Chair. I'd like to start with Ms Bradley. In relation to the 16 uninsured vehicles, which is actually to have a vehicle on the road, Ms Bradley, it's a criminal offence to have it on it without insurance. Was there any prosecution in that regard?
No.
Was
against inland fisheries, is it?
Yeah.
No.
So there was no prosecution brought for having a vehicle uninsured?
No.
On the public highway?
No.
That's strange. Were you asked to present documents?
No.
Okay, was there a Garda involved? Were the Gardaí called?
So obviously how we became aware that the vehicles were uninsured was when the accident occurred, and obviously we contacted our insurance company, right? But the Gardaí haven't.
How long ago did the incident take place?
It happened in August 2021.
So past the time for issuing any prosecution. You are aware that somebody in the organisation would be held responsible from a criminal perspective?
No, we do. I mean, we are.
So what have you done
sorry.
apart from employing a fleet manager?
Yeah.
Has there been training in that regard?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a full review was done both in terms of the administration resources that needed to be done, but apart from that, we also made sure that we put in a fail-safe so that this cannot happen again.
Okay, so just to be clear, there was nobody in IFI made a statement on Garda Síochána with regards to the no insurance matter?
We weren't asked to, no.
Okay, that's fine. And just to go back then to the maintenance, like it is quite, I wouldn't equate a logistics manager with a fleet manager ever, but however, seen as the same person seemed to be doing two jobs. I note in some of our reports that the idea of the telematics was that you would incorporate fuel and other services from them. Is that correct?
Yeah, so basically the idea was that it was like a dual relationship with lease.
So you bought a package?
Yeah, we had
right.
a maintenance and insurance with them.
And
yeah.
It does say vehicle fuel. So do telematics provide you with fuel cards?
No, so we have our fuel cards through Circle K.
Circle K.
Yeah.
And so how many fuel cards do you have?
Oh God, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Would each vehicle have a fuel card?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But,
okay.
but we would also have fuel cards for boats and for certain equipment that would require diesel to operate them.
Okay, and so would the chief executive, for instance, have a fuel card?
I would have a fuel card.
You'd have a fuel card and the chief executive?
Yeah.
Okay. How long has the chief executive a fuel card?
Well, I don't know actually if he has a fuel card. I have one.
He's nodding, so I presume that's it.
Yeah.
Yes, Mr. O'Donnell.
I have a fuel card, and I think since about 2019 or early 2020, when I started first with Inland Fisheries Ireland as regional director. And just for clarity, I use my car for work purposes only. I don't use it for any private use. We have a policy internally that prohibits that.
Sorry, you use your card or car?
No, sorry. I use my car, and obviously the card for work purposes only, for operational reasons.
Just a sec now. I just slow down for one second.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
So the car you have, is it a personal car or is it an IFI vehicle?
It's an IFI vehicle.
Okay, for which you have a fuel card.
Which I have a fuel card, yes.
Okay, so when you were claiming subsistence, did you ever use that fuel card? And can we have a record? You're saying that you have the card since 2020?
I have it since I started in IFI, yes.
And you didn't use it obviously when you were claiming subsistence, and we'll be able to get a record of that.
That's not how it works. I would just claim the normal.
Well, hold on. Why would you claim existence if subsistence?
I don't claim travel. You just claim an overnight. They're two different components of,
right.
of the TNS system.
So let's clear that up. So your travel, you were claiming an overnight. You had no mileage.
You're correct.
You had no mileage claim.
I have never claimed mileage. I go in and I use my card for IFI business, and that's it. It goes directly centrally back then to our finance section.
But clearly, if you'd fill the IFI car with the fuel card.
Of course.
Yeah, and you don't use that outside the business.
Of course I don't.
Perfect. So and moving back to that then, can we, you obviously have huge oversight of the fact that Mr. O'Donnell would have a vehicle but that he uses for work only.
Yes.
So how do you actually, do you have telematics information then?
So
You
we
do?
have, yeah, we have
That's fine,
telematics,
yeah. So just then, Mr. O'Donnell, to go back to, from the information we received was that there was no record. I know you've subsequently read out a HR letter, but that letter came after the fact from our investigation, or the CNAG's investigation. Was that letter posted to you, emailed to you? How did you receive? Where did you find that? That it hadn't been submitted initially?
Well, I don't know whether I got it in the post or I got it by email. I couldn't honestly answer that question. But I think it was sent by my colleague, Russian Bradley, and she might be able to
Okay, Ms. Bradley.
Can I just, I just want to explain how this came about, because I think it's going to be slightly...
No, I really just need to know when the letter, where the letter was that the CNAG hadn't received it.
Okay, so the letter was, as far as I remember, but I'd have to double check, I printed out a hard copy of it, so I could put it in his file, and left it on his desk, and I also scanned a copy of it to him, and I was obviously CC'd by the chairman, but that wasn't after the fact, it was at the time.
It was after the fact of our report.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
I take it, sorry, I'll just clarify that with the CNAG.
No, the letter that we're talking about was the 3rd of November 2021.
One.
That was a notification to the chief executive that his base had changed. So that happened at the time that the change was made. A year later, we were carrying out the audit and we were looking for where is the business case underpinning it. And the only document that was available to us for audit purposes was the notification to the chief executive that his base had been changed.
Which really wouldn't suffice from the point of view.
It wasn't sufficient, in my view, when the change of base should have been a decision of the board.
The board,
and I was looking for evidence of the board's decision in relation to the change of base in 2021.
And now, so that's been explained. Can you explain to me, in the absence of a board making that decision, why did you go ahead and then revert and repay the subsistence?
Because as a public servant, if the CNAG points something out to you, and they're of the view, a strong view, that the process around my change of base wasn't correct, that it should have gone to a full board decision, then I'm duty bound to lead properly and not be one bit afraid to do this and to say, okay, if I had known that I had to do that at the time, I would have gone to the full board and got a decision to do it. Okay.
Now, Mr. O'Donnell, a man of your experience, you're telling me that you needed the just to be clear, you needed the CNAG to advise that it wasn't proper practice.
Well,
in line with public service guidelines, that you would just change your address.
Can I respond to that? The chairperson of the board,
But there must be a code of conduct.
and the head of HR agreed to this change.
Well, the chair of the board, when you say the chair of the board agreed to it,
yes.
Where have we seen that?
But that is correct, and the CNAG have pointed that out.
Who was the chair of the board at the time?
Well, Fintan Gorman was the chair of the board.
And you're saying here categorically under oath that he agreed to your change of work.
Not alone did he.
You just said
yes, not alone did he agree it, Deputy. He signed off on my expenses, which would have been from the Ballyshannon base thereafter. So there is
nothing in writing. No, there was nothing put in writing.
But there may have been nothing in writing, but he did agree to it. There's no possible way that I could have operated from the Ballyshannon base without at least getting agreement. And I had the letter from Deputy Bradley.
On that basis, I mean, would you not say to yourself, you didn't, why did you feel the need to pay back the subsistence if you were categoric in that you didn't do it unilaterally? You had Mr. The former chair.
Because the CNAG pointed it out. I sat down when the two Section 18 board members were appointed. They considered the issue. They were aligned with the CNAG on it.
Oh, I'm sure they were.
No, they were aligned with the CNAG on it. And I took the corrective action. Would you not have wanted me to do that?
Of course I would. I just wonder why it took so long and why it needed to be pointed out to someone in your position. Why that needed to be pointed out. I mean, these are basic rules basic rules in relation to public
I
office.
go back to 2021. It's about context here as well, Deputy. I mean, I was asking everybody in IFI at that point in time not to go to HQ, not to go to a regional office, work from home if you possibly could. That's really important. When your office is only open one day a week,
different times, I agree.
you know, and I think,
Okay.
And just to go back,
Thank
just
you.
one quick question.
Just very briefly.
Whilst that was one error, there was an accumulation of errors that makes IFI look like a basket case. For a start, the no insurance on the vehicles, something that I would find incredible, to be honest, as someone who has operated as a haulier for years. It is a jailable offence. The other thing is that the leasing of the cottage, you were aware of that?
sure, I have just informed the other deputy.
I know,
in depth.
but you would take responsibility that there was a comedy of errors within IFI.
I think when over a time period, organisations make governance mistakes, right? And the difficulty with IFI was when these governance issues were brought, I suppose, to the attention of the minister and the public, they all came out at the one time.
But do you take any responsibility for that?
But why should I take responsibility? My responsibility at this point in time is to be here in front of this committee today.
As the CEO, I just asked, would you take any responsibility for all of those errors?
Well,
I
wasn't here for many of them, so I couldn't take responsibility for them. But I'm taking responsibility now to tighten up on governance and to get us through this bottleneck in the organisation. That is my job.
So you would be happy that there is nobody claiming travel subsistence within the organisation, but that would have the use of a fuel card categorically?
Well, absolutely should not be.
No, but you would have already stated that, obviously, to employees that shouldn't happen. Given your own brush with subsistence and repaying money, there would probably have been a sit down with everybody to say we need to have the height of good governance here and conduct.
We have a telematics system.
That only isn't.
No, it's very, very important, David. I
don't want anyone confused about what a telematics system does.
No, but Chair, can I say?
Sorry, no, just stop for a second.
Yeah.
I'm chairing the meeting here, okay? Just allow him to give an answer. We'll keep it brief.
Okay.
I want to allow Ms. Bradley has indicated 3 times she wishes to come in and come in briefly as well. Just clarify that point. Provide some clarification.
When a fuel card is used in IFI, we can there and then, or sometime thereafter, see whether that vehicle that the fuel card is assigned to was at that petrol station. And I do reviews, and I have done significant reviews on that in relation to an investigation that I'm assisting.
So you'd cross-check if there was any form of subsistence claim with fuel purchased, you cross-check that all the time?
I do cross-checks, and I have done cross-checks, but I don't want to go into that in depth now in relation to what I spoke about earlier.
Just briefly, Ms. Bradley, I know you were anxious to come in.
We've taken a lot of learnings from what's happened, and not only did we, as I said, put in a robust, new administration support system and the policy and all the rest of it, but we also conducted a number of mandatory sessions with staff to go to remind them of the fleet policy and the subsistence and more importantly about fuel cards and how they should be used and monitored and all that kind of stuff.
So you would be quite happy to state here categorically that there could be no cross between a claim for subsistence and use of the fuel cards. That's great. Thank you, Chair.
So what we're going to do now, we're going to break it for 10 minutes. I'd ask people to be straight back in 10 minutes.
Chair, one small thing.
Just for us, I think that very briefly.
Sorry, very briefly. No, it's just maybe for the record. It may not be that important. Unless I heard it wrong, I think the CNAG may have stated that the Inland Fisheries Ireland headquarters was in Donegal. It's actually in Dublin, but it's just for the transcript of the meeting. That's all. And I apologise if I misheard you.
Mr. O'Donnell, can I just clarify from my own head? You have a sub-office you do have offices in regional offices in
We have all around the country.
Yeah, just to familiarise myself with it, that's okay.
Yeah.
And that's the one that you were using during the COVID period, okay? Thanks for that clarification. So it's suspended for 10 minutes. Be back in here because we're starting in 10 minutes, right? If you're outside, you'll be left behind.
Okay.
Meeting suspended.
Okay.